much he can get away with. And right now, with Republicans taking the knee and Attorney General William Barr behaving as the hand of the king, the House, which voted to impeach Donald Trump last year, appears to be the only check on his presidential wrongdoing. So what do they plan to do about it? And what can they do to make sure that he does not continue abusing his power? To help answer that, I'm joined by someone who has been calling for Trump's impeachment since 2017, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, Democrat of California, who chairs the Financial Services Committee. Always great to talk with you, Congresswoman.
Thank you. Delighted to be with you this evening, Joy.
Thank you. So let's talk about Donald Trump post-impeachment. Impeachment is, you know, as we've talked about a lot, it's not a punishment. It's a sanction, right? Even if a president is not removed, it's meant to be a sanction and send a message that this is the limit beyond which you cannot go. Donald Trump seems to be blowing directly through that limit, ignoring that sanction and behaving even worse than he did before. Is there anything that Congress can do about that, having already pulled the lever of impeachment?
No, you know, Joy, you're absolutely correct. We've gone through the trial. The House voted to impeach him, but the Senate did not act responsibly, and they basically exonerated him. And so we have a president that's out of control. Remember, the president said he could stand on Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and nothing would happen to him. He's always believed that. And so now that he's gone through the impeachment, which he never thought that he was going to go through, he is going to get revenge. He is going to show you that there are no limits to the presidential power. And, you know, while everybody's talking about the commutations and the pardons and the clemency and all of that, he's going to be even worse. He is going to wreak revenge on some people. I don't know in all the ways that he's going to do it. And then he's going to put Putin right in our face. He's going to bring him to the White House, and he's going to say, be damned the Congress of the United States. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. So we've got to turn out those people who understand that he's dangerous, that he doesn't care about the Constitution. We've got to organize, and we've got to turn out the vote. We've got to vote him out of office.
And so do you believe that if Donald Trump is reelected, that he will drop all sanctions on Russia and, as you said, bring Vladimir Putin to the White House?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He will pardon Manafort. He will lift all the sanctions from Russia. He'll be even more involved with the oligarchs of Russia, and he's going to bring Putin to the White House. I believe that, if he's reelected. But we've got to make sure those of us who really respect and care about the Constitution and know that Russia has hacked into our Democratic National Committee and to our state election systems. And we are knowing very well that they're going to do it again in this election. We've got to work hard to make sure that they don't get away with it, that we don't have this president who will carry out that kind of agenda if he's reelected. We've got to make sure this man is not elected again.
And, you know, part of the risk of Donald Trump is not just that his own sort of sense of, you know, monarchical nature and his sort of, you know, desire to be an autocrat. It's that he's surrounded by sycophants and people who agree that he should be able to behave almost as a king. Here is Donald Trump saying that he, talking about his own power and his power as the chief law enforcement officer. Here he is.
Just so you understand, I chose not to be involved. I'm allowed to be totally involved. I'm actually, I guess, the chief law enforcement officer of the country, but I've chosen not to be involved.
And he's talking about the Roger Stone case, but he's being enabled by that by the Attorney General. Here is William Barr. He's insinuated before that presidents are the chief law enforcement officer, that they essentially have absolute power. This is a quote from a speech he gave way back in 2001, talking about what he said to George H.W. Bush while serving as his Attorney General. He wrote, I remember right before we indicted the Pan Am 103 people, the investigation was going on, and the president, George H.W. Bush, said to me, would it be okay for you to brief us on the National Security Council on where things stand? Would it be okay? Well, I work for you. You're the top law enforcement officer, as long as it's okay. The fact that Donald Trump has this man as Attorney General, who is a monarchist, who does believe he should be king, in a sense, is that even more dangerous than Donald Trump's own proclivities?
Well, the American people should be focused on Barr, and we should all be joining with all of those federal prosecuting attorneys who have decided that he should step down, that he should resign. We should be supporting them. We should be backing them up. And I'm anxious to see what all of these federal judges who have decided they can't wait until their yearly association meeting, that they should pay attention to what's going on now and review what has happened. I'm anxious to see what they're going to come out with. But the American public should get behind this if they care anything about our democracy. You know, for all of those people who say that they, you know, honor the flag and that they are in support of, you know, our democracy being strengthened. For all of those people who say that, where are you? That can't they see what is happening? We're in a constitutional crisis in this country with a president who's running amok. He's out of control. And we've got to make sure that he's not reelected. We've got to speak up. We've got to resist. I don't hear enough voices. It is not only the sycophants around him. It's the average American who gets up every day, who's going to work, who's taking care of their families, who's thinking somebody else is going to see to it that this president is not reelected. But no, it's got to be all of us out there working and working very hard. We have a constitutional crisis, and we've got to deal with it. And this is what democracy is all about. When you see a president out of control, when you see those who have been elected to office who are not acting responsibly and they're endangering our democracy, you've got to speak out against them. You've got to work against them, and you've got to make sure that they're not reelected ever again.
Well said, Congresswoman Maxine Waters. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Really appreciate you.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And ahead, lots of new movement in the latest NBC News polling. Michael Bloomberg makes the debate stage, which can have big impact.